ahead.
Today is October 5th, and this is a public information meeting. And present today for this meeting is myself, Peter Allen, Councillor for District 9, Laura Mosier, who is the manager of the planning department, and Ray Miles, the applicant. And Laura will be doing the presentation. So Laura, when you're ready to start, you go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Councillor Allen. Just let me share my screen here.
I could just add at this time, at the end of this presentation, there'd be an opportunity to ask questions or make comments. So Laura, go ahead.
Thank you. So we're going to have a public information meeting today to discuss an application we've received from Mr. Ray Miles for the property at 1021 Bluff Road in Lockhartville. And the purpose of this meeting is to inform the public of the application, to explain the planning policies that enable the application to occur, and to receive preliminary feedback from the public. It should be noted that no opinions have been formed on this application at this time. So the proposal, as stated before, is to establish an event venue on subject properties in addition to the following existing uses. There's a dwelling, so we're looking at two different properties, 5513-428 and 5522-5627. Each parcel has a dwelling, an existing dwelling on it already. One of them has a recreational cabin, and there are various accessory, that should say buildings, not dwellings, on the two properties. So the property is located in Lockhartville, and it is shown in the circle on your screen. So the subject properties are depicted in this aerial photo. You can see this parcel near the water. This one is 555-13428, and it is currently has a dwelling on it, as well as there's a gazebo, utility shed, a playground, and by the water down here, there's a recreation cabin. There's also a pair of outhouses on the property within one structure. The second property, which has John Bluff Road, is PID 55225627. It currently has a dwelling under construction, accessory garage, the event venue building, which was constructed as an agricultural storage building, an accessory shed, another set of outhouses, as well as an abandoned dwelling close to the road. So I've taken a few photos of the property. The first photo on the left is the dwelling on the, all of these buildings are on the parcel closest to the water. So the lighthouse building is a recreation of a historic lighthouse, but currently serves as a seasonal dwelling. On the right-hand side is a small accessory shed. And on this next photo on the left-hand side, you can see the gazebo as well as the utility shed. And on the right-hand side is, excuse me, is a photo of the recreational cabin that's located in the water. So now we're on to the parcel closest to the road. And this photo is of the former agricultural storage building, but this is where events take place. And then these are the other structures on the property. The one in the top left is the outhouse structure. The one in the top right is the dwelling under construction, and the dwelling on the bottom is the shed or garage. So we've drawn up a little site plan for the property, showing the development area A around the agricultural storage or event venue building. There is a railway corridor that bisects the two parcels, and then on the parcel closest to the water, we have the lighthouse dwelling, as well as the utility shed, the gazebo, and the recreational cabin. So when we look at the zoning on the two properties, both properties are located in the rural mixed use or A2 zone. This zone permits a variety of uses, but does not permit an event venue, which is why we're looking to do a planning application on this property to permit the event venue use. So when we look at the types of planning applications that we can contemplate, we turn to our municipal planning strategy, and specifically we turn to policies related to future land use. So both of these properties are located within the agricultural land use designation. And so we to that section of the municipal planning strategy to understand what the overall vision for this area is and what types of amendments or development agreements that can be contemplated. So this application is for a development agreement. So we always like to go over what a development agreement is briefly at these meetings. And a development agreement is a legal contract between council and a property owner that enables the property owner to contemplate doing something that may not be permitted as of right. And it also may apply additional restrictions on the developer to the use or to the types of uses outlined. And this also would include additional restrictions to minimize and mitigate any negative impacts that might be expected through the use. The last thing is the development agreement runs with the land, which means that the conditions don't, if the land is sold to a new owner, that new owner would have the benefit of the negotiated development agreement. And finally, the ability to enter into a development agreement needs to be identified in the policies of the municipal planning strategy, and those policies should include any criteria to be used to assess a proposal that requires a development agreement. So we'll just go over briefly the enabling policies for this development agreement. And the first one relates to tourism-oriented, visitor-oriented proposals, and this is policy 2.5.13 that indicates that council shall consider only by development agreement in the agriculture, resource, and shoreland designations proposals for visitor-oriented developments not permitted as of right. In evaluating development agreements, council shall be satisfied that the proposal is oriented to visitors or the traveling public, such as, but not limited to, lodging, restaurants, event venues, or other types of special attractions. Council will also want to make sure that the subject property has a lot area that can appropriately accommodate the proposed use, including any accessory uses and structures, parking areas, and required infrastructure. Council also wants to ensure that site facilities are adequately buffered and or separated from surrounding residential dwellings, other than a residential dwelling occupied by the operator, to mitigate negative impacts associated with noise, light, and other visual impacts. If the use is a listed permitted use, the condition that prevents the proposal from being permitted as of right in the designation is addressed by the development agreement. In this case, the use is not permitted in the zone, so this policy is not applicable. And finally, that the proposal meets the general development agreement criteria set out in section 5.3, development agreements and amending the land use bylaw. There is a second policy that assists in enabling this development agreement, and this is specific to the parcel near the water. Because that parcel does not have public road frontage, typically that would significantly limit its development potential. However, our municipal planning strategy does contemplate these situations and would identify this property as a unique lot. It's defined as those lots created before 1979 that have features that limit their development potential for uses permitted in the assigned designation and zone. The boundaries of a unique lot may have been altered by addition or consolidation after 1979, but still have features that limit their development potential. In this case, that feature is the former railway bed because it bisects the two properties and creates a situation where that second property near the water does not have road frontage, which would limit its development potential because the municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw and subdivision bylaw of the municipality do not permit very many types of development on properties that don't have road frontage. So policies 2.9.7 and 2.9.8 are those that enable a development agreement on these types of properties. And they state that council shall consider only by development agreement within all designations and zones proposals for the reuse of unique structures, unique lots, and historic places and structures do not meet the requirements of the land use bylaw. And that proposals for subdivision of lands associated with unique structures, unique lots, or historic places and structures in a manner that does not meet the requirements of the subdivision bylaw. In this context, land associated with means not only the unique lot or the lot on which the unique structure or historic places or structures is located, but also lots that would support accessory or associated uses. That's an awful lot of words to say that this lot doesn't meet the requirements of the subdivision bylaw, which would require that there be lot frontage. And in evaluating such development agreements, council shall be satisfied that the proposal includes a unique structure, a unique lot, or historic place, that the proposal is in keeping with the intent of the designation in which it's located, and if the use is a listed permitted use, that the condition that prevents it from being permitted is addressed. Again, not applicable since an event venue is not a permitted use in the zone, and that the proposal meets the general development agreement criteria set out in section 5. So these general development criteria are as follows: that it's keeping with the intent of the MPS, that there's limited financial impact on the municipality, that the use is compatible with uses around it, so land use compatibility, adequacy and proximity of school, recreation, and community facilities nearby, the creation of traffic hazards or congestion, the adequacy of fire protection, the adequacy of sewer and water services, the potential for flooding or serious drainage problems, negative impacts on well fields or other groundwater supplies, pollution, including soil erosion, siltation of water courses, or negative impact on lake water quality or wetlands, negative impacts on neighboring farming operations, and the suitability of site, including grade, soils, geological condition, location of water courses, marshes, bogs, swamps, and proximity to utility right-of-ways. So that's the review of the policies, the enabling policies that staff will be using to assess the development. This slide shows just a brief rundown of how we process the application. We've received a complete application. This would be the first step. We're currently recording our online public information meeting, which will be posted for 30 days and available for comment and question. Following that, staff will begin our review to assess the proposal against the policies of the municipal planning strategy. We'll also be consulting with internal and external agencies and departments to ensure that those general criteria are appropriately addressed. Following that, we'll prepare a draft and bring that draft with the staff report to the Planning Advisory Committee for recommendation to council. Council will give the application initial consideration, and if they wish to proceed with the approval, they'll authorize a public hearing. And after the public hearing, they will give the application its final consideration, after which a 14-day appeal period will begin. So properties 500 feet of these two parcels have been notified of this online public information meeting, and they will also be made aware of the public hearing. Both of these meetings are also advertised in the local newspaper. So this is my contact information. Any questions or comments can be directed to me or to Councillor Allen. And my contact information is listed on our webpage as well. So with that, I will pass it back to Councillor Allen.
Thank you, Laura. Ray, do you have anything at this moment you'd like to add to the presentation or comments?
Just a few comments, Peter. First, I must apologize that I have used the property as an events venue before I knew that I actually needed to go through this process. We have been using it as an events venue for a few years now, holding weddings and a few other family gatherings have happened there, and we even hosted one funeral there last year. It's not something that I'm doing as a business or to profit myself. One of the things that we ask people to do to have use of the property is to make a donation to the Hansport Food Bank. Over the last roughly 3 years, the food bank has received probably $6,000 to $7,000 from the use of this land. Looking forward next year, we project that next year alone, with a few of the events that are already in the planning stage, if we're successful with this application, that they'll receive again next year roughly $4,000. And then that goes a long ways with the food bank in the area. So other than that, like I said, we've been doing this for a few years, not knowing that we needed to have the permit in place. And to my knowledge, I don't have any issues with any of my neighbors. They all seem to enjoy the property, which is great. We have lots of them that walk their dogs and so on around the property and throughout the course of the year. And that's all I have to say, Peter. And I thank you guys for your consideration.
Thank you, Ray. So, Laura, do we have anyone else attending the meeting that you know of?
Well, no, because what we do is we record the meeting and then we post it on our website, and then the public has 30 days to make questions or comments. So we'll bring
Very
those
good.
with the staff report to Planning Advisory Committee.
Okay, so I believe that concludes the meeting, and I'd like to thank everyone that participated, and good to see you again, Ray.
Yes, good to see you, Peter. I don't think we'll get to an auction this fall.
No, but we'll see each other around the community. Take care.
Yes. Take care.
So that's it, Laura?
Yeah, that's it.
Very good. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.